Redbull Ring is an awesome F1 track, and you can drive it with your own car, or you could rent a car. Is it easy? Is it dangerous? Can anyone do it? Can you do it? Stay tuned to find out. Redbull Ring is a racetrack located in Spielberg, Styria in Austria. That's Austria, not Australia. The track is formerly known as A1-Ring or Österreichring. It's originally built in 1969 to replace the old Zeltweg airfield circuit, which is why you still might hear some people refer to it as Zeltweg. This track hosts races such as Formula 1 Grand Prix, motorcycle racing, DTM and others. To get to the track you can just access it via highway. Austrian highways require a vignette, so don't forget to buy one. The cheapest way is to get the weekly one. The track has two basic layouts. There is the F1, the longer layout, and there is the National, the shorter version. The longer track has 10 corners, 2 of which are high-speed left-hand corners, whereas the shorter layout has just 6 corners and it feels like you're mostly turning right all the time. Achievable top speed will be the same regardless of the layout, as the main straight is the same. Track width is also more or less the same. If you're interested in track statistics, just pause the video. Both of the track layouts go in the same direction, which in this case is clockwise. The entrance and exit to the pit is the same. The F1 layout features both fast and slow corners, whereas the National, the shorter version, mostly has mid-speed corners. The short track has very slight change in elevation. There is a small incline after the first corner, whereas the long track has a significant change in elevation. From the first corner, you go through the chicane, and going into the topmost corner there is a maximum slope of 12%. Later on, the highest downhill slope is around 9%. Due to the speed and layout, if you have a decently powerful car, you will not feel the upward slope that much as it's on the straight portion, but the downhill slope will likely impact your confidence. This is especially true in the middle section of the track, as going flat out may result in some skids. Curbs are almost completely flat and you can cut them as much as you think is fair. Yellow curves are to be avoided as they are slightly raised, but otherwise the F1 cars drive here, so you can safely take your car slammed to the ground without risk of scraping or hitting a hidden pothole. Speaking of potholes, there aren't any hidden bumps, weird drainages, curbs or anything like that. Generally the track is very nice, very smooth, there are no nasty surprises anywhere. Gas pump is available on the track. Price is as usual slightly higher than what you would find in the city. If you drive the longer layout, the usual lap time is somewhere around 2 minutes. The shorter lap takes a bit longer than a minute. Entering the pit from the track happens after the second to last corner. You turn in a bit too much on that corner, so you can continue straight to the pit. If you miss it, you'll continue on towards the last corner, which will then take you to the main straight. Likewise, exiting the pit, entering the track, takes you right after the first corner into the straight that's going towards the chicane. So, one lap starting off at the main straight, your car will probably achieve around 200 or a little bit more on this straight. You will move on to the left side. The first corner is a right-hand 90-degree corner. You clip the apex and you will proceed outward. Try not to go over the left yellow curb. You proceed straight towards the chicane. The chicane will be a 90-degree right and left hand corner. Try to find the best line for your car and try to go as fast as you can out of it. This will probably be in second or third gear depending on your car's gearing. The upward part is now the steepest part of the track. Try to be as fast as you can. The right corner is more than 90 degrees, it's around 120 or so. It's got a little bump at the apex, so try not to clip it or you will slide just as I do here. Now you are located on the highest point of the track, everything is downhill from there, so go as fast as you can, straight as you can, and hold on to the left side here. The braking zone is a very hard braking zone. Try not to cook your brakes here, braking point is around here. Go early apex on the right side and take a wide exit, flat out gas, depending on your car's suspension of course, and slowly move to the right because the next two corners are on the left side. So you will go hard on the brakes here, you will go late apex inside here, somewhere around here, then you go flat out again. You will move on to the right side and the next corner is again almost the same. So late brake, late apex, you turn in and then go right over the curb as much as you think is okay, full gas, and you proceed straight out to the left side. Now you only have 2 corners remaining. You will brake late once you see the curbs a bit later, so somewhere around here. Brake late, curb the apex, go over it. You can turn out wide here, full gas, braking once again, dipping into this corner here, and wide on the gas, and this is how you're back on the main straight now. And this is basically one lap, the F1 layout. The Red Bull Ring, as previously mentioned, is a track that's pretty easy to memorize. The shorter layout has just 6 corners, the longer one 10. And while it's very easy to memorize it, don't think that driving the ideal line fast is easy. I would argue that the shorter version with fewer corners is actually harder to complete at high speed following the ideal line than the F1 layout is. The reason for this is that the second and third corner are super technical. These chicane-like mid-speed corners, if not driven perfectly, will kill your lap times. Assetto Corsa also has a great version of this track, but at least my version didn't include the chicane, so if your version is like that, be aware of it. And just like with many other tracks, there are often people on the track who are very experienced, who could join you for a lap and help you with finding the ideal line, help you determine the braking zones for your car, as well as high speeds for each corner. Should you make a mistake, the dive zones are pretty big, including gravel pits, so you should be pretty safe. There are places where losing control might mean crashing your car, but if you don't go really crazy, you should be pretty safe. A racetrack such as Red Bull Ring makes your car heat up really quickly. It is absolutely necessary to have an oil cooler installed for this track. Also, upgraded brakes and suspension are important, as there are long, fast corners and high-speed braking, especially going downhill at corner 4. Regarding car's power, I'm a big proponent of the saying, it's more fun to drive a slow car fast than to drive a fast car slow, but on the Red Bull Ring, due to the uphill climb and long, fast corners, ideally you'd want a powerful car with at least 200 horsepower, otherwise it might get a little bit dull. But this isn't to say that if you don't have a lot of horsepower that you won't have fun at the track. But of course, if you can, you always want more power, baby! As with many events on the Red Bull Ring, a helmet is actually not obligatory. On one hand, it does help with protecting your head and makes perfect sense if your car has a roll cage installed. On the other hand, wearing a helmet means extra weight and strain on your neck, amplifying any whiplash injuries that may be worse than other injuries, as in most cars today you do have several airbags. Some tracks mandate helmets, some don't, and it's not simple to say what's better. The results are inconclusive. So how do you actually book a slot to drive on the Red Bull Ring? Well, Red Bull Ring has one of the best approaches towards getting you on the track. You've got 3 basic options. You can rent one of their cars and drive either the driving center or the track. You can also drive your own car in their driving center or at the track with the instructor present. Or you could book a track day and drive your own car as you want to. The first option is explained in detail on their website. You go to Red Bull Driving Experience and you can see various options there. You can rent a Porsche Cayman, GT4, Formula 4, KTM Crossbow, etc. For more details, just check the offer at their website. We went to 2 of those Porsche driving experiences and I can say they are awesome. You don't need to be an experienced driver, their instructors are making sure to introduce everyone to the track and the car, and are safely guiding everyone to expand their skills and push their limits, but most importantly, to have a lot of fun. All of these driving experience packages are listed on their website, where you can also book a slot. The second option of taking your own car to these experiences is similar. A group of 5 or 6 drivers in the driving center are tackling a specific corner, each in their own car, and the instructor is guiding them with his own car and over walkie-talkies. It's a great safe environment to push your own car to the limit. But if you're a more experienced driver and you want to really have fun, then there is the third option. The best one, doing a track day in your own car. Red Bull Ring doesn't have a lot of these slots available, as their event calendar is pretty booked and it isn't always fully known up front, but you can send them an email and express your interest in driving the track with your own car. They will then contact you once they get the dates and you can book a slot. The track day on Red Bull Ring is not a multi-hour session, but specific stints that you can book individually. They are 25 minutes long and you can book as many as you want in a day. In 2024 the price was €60 per stint for 25 minutes. Which means that if you booked 3 stints for a total of almost 1.5 hours of track time, it cost you €180, which is not bad at all. Before you do book a slot with your own car, make sure to check the prerequisites. Last time I was there, you needed to show proof of registration and license, and also you needed to have a tow hook installed. Each track has their own rules, so just make sure that you have all of the boxes ticked. Is this track dangerous? Well, not really. It's pretty wide and it's got really good visibility. The dive zones are well made, and should you fly out, the gravel pits will stop you from going too far. If you do end up in one, it will likely mandate the tow truck to pull you out. Like I said earlier, there are instructors on the track, and if you're driving with an instructor, there is virtually zero danger involved, as they will really take good care of you. Also remember, on any track day you will encounter complete rookies, hardcore track pros, and you might experience a lot of traffic jams. Make sure to check your mirrors, be aware of your surroundings, and don't forget, it's a track day, it's not a race. So stay safe and have fun. When booking track stints, you don't want to book consecutive stints. Each one is 25 minutes long, and after 25 minutes of driving the track, your car's tires will likely be overheated, the engine oil will be very hot, and your brakes will require some cooling. You yourself will also need a break. You can't maintain indefinite concentration, and it's a good idea to take a break, drink some water, and relax before your next drive. If you want to observe the racetrack and see some action on the Redbull ring, there are a lot of places to either sit or stand and watch. Entrance is mostly free and you can just walk around different places. There are plenty of spots. We were a bit lazy, so we didn't go around far, but if you want to, you can. Ask the track officials for advice about viewing locations. The good side of the Redbull ring is it's an awesome track, which also has a very simple layout for beginners. It's interesting and challenging also for experienced drivers, but there is also another layout available. Another good side is the Redbull driving experience packages. They are an excellent introduction to have your first experience on the track in a really safe environment. Even if you're a seasoned driver, these might interest you, as you could rent a car that you normally don't drive. And finally, the last great side is that the track is super smooth with safe dive zones and overall a good layout. Now, one of the downsides of the track is the limited availability to drive your own car at the track. Due to many events happening on the Redbull ring, you'll be able to drive it with your own car mostly when the season is already over. This means just before or after the winter months. The second downside is that if you were to drive the national layout, it might get a bit boring. The short layout is very challenging, as I said, but near constant right turns are a bit of a hassle. The final downside isn't really a downside. It's an F1 track that's very wide and fast. But this does suggest that you want a bit more power in your car and very good brakes to have maximum enjoyment. The track is very close to the towns of Zeltweg and Knittelfeld. You might want to check those out for lunch, as the track restaurant is very expensive. These towns offer a bit more than what you'll find on the track. There is, however, a nice F1 souvenir shop on the track that's a must visit, as is the F1 Hall of Fame. When you do decide to visit the track, especially if you will be driving the track yourself, I suggest you book a hotel near the track a day in advance so that you have ample time to prepare in the morning. One particularly good spot is the Flexi Motel, which is very reasonably priced, it's close to the track, and it's pretty cheap and neat. It's a self-service motel that's very clean, and if you're arriving with an EV, there are chargers near the motel. Final thoughts? I've got nothing but absolute recommendation to visit the Redbull ring. Regardless of whether you plan on renting the car or drive your own car, it's a great experience. People working at the track are super approachable, very knowledgeable, and ready to help. The track is interesting, nice, and fun. All in all, it's a great experience, especially for those who are not used to racetracks and track days. It's a strong A. See you at the track, and until next time.